everyone. We'll begin in a minute. Just wanted to ask, does anybody need a sound check?
Go ahead and talk.
Okay. Good morning again. My name is Maureen Micheline, and I am our Director Ara Najarian's Transportation Deputy. And I'll be introducing Ara, who is twice past mayor of Glendale, currently a city councilman, and a member of the MTA board. It's a pleasure to introduce him, Ara Najarian.
I need to get near the speakers. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this bright and early morning on the steps of the MTA headquarters. As Maureen indicated, and she told you, I'm Ara Najarian. I'm a council member of the city of Glendale, past mayor, and I'm currently a member of the board of directors for the MTA. My esteemed colleagues and I are here today to expose and put a halt to an ill-conceived, multi-billion-dollar, obsolete transportation project. It is the 5-mile 710 tunnel. Standing alongside me is Assemblyman Anthony Portantino and mayors of 4 cities. Others are representing civic groups, and others are just plain folks that are concerned about what the tunnel is going to do to us. We all stand against this mistake of a project, and I urge my colleagues on the MTA board to eliminate it from their consideration. You know, large visionary projects are things we deal with all the time at the MTA. The West Side Subway, the Expo Line, the Gold Line, East Side and Foothill Extension, the Orange Line. But this tunnel idea is ill-conceived. It is impossible to fund and will do nothing to solve our traffic and mobility issues in the region. It is a step backwards. It is an anachronism. It's an attempt to shove an Eisenhower administration transportation plan onto contemporary Los Angeles. In short, the tunnel concept is flawed, and it will collapse under its own weight. With me here today, and you'll hear from them just a little bit later, are the honorable mayors of Pasadena, Glendale, La Cañada Flintridge, South Pasadena. And our first speaker today is a long-time tunnel fighter, a good friend of mine, representing the area affected, Assemblyperson Anthony Portantino.
Good morning. Thank you, Ara, for your tireless leadership on the MTA board, speaking sense about the 710 tunnel completion. You know, frankly, I'm angry. Here we are spending tens of millions of dollars on a path to spend billions, $15 billion, $20 billion on a project that doesn't solve a transportation problem. And expert after expert has stood up and said it most likely will increase gridlock on the arterial streets, increase gridlock on our freeways, and hurt air pollution, increase the toxins in our air. Expert after expert has gotten up and made those contentions based on facts. Meanwhile, the proponents, not only are they stuck in a 1950s transportation model, the proponents have given you platitudes, generalizations, unsubstantiated contentions, and oftentimes misinformation on a flawed process that has gone on for a decade. 2 days ago, I met with the Secretary of Transportation and the Director of Caltrans, where I delivered thousands of signed petitions of residents in affected neighborhoods who are saying, we don't want this nightmare brought into our neighborhood. And that's important, because when this process started, we were told it was going to achieve consensus. This is consensus that this is a bad project that will negatively affect the San Gabriel Valley. The planners, the consultants, the attorneys need to stop F7, which is the tunnel alternative. Again, we're being told that it's going to be cheaper per mile than smaller projects in other states. Does anybody know how smaller could be cheaper? Narrower could somehow be more inexpensive to complete? It's ridiculous. No one here and no MTA board member or policymaker would let a contractor start an addition on their house without knowing how many square feet are going to be built, how many people are going to use it, and how much it's going to cost. But yet, we're spending tens of millions of dollars on a path to a 10 to 15 to $20 billion project. We don't know how many cars are going to use it. We don't even know if trucks are going to use it. We, of course, do know that, but they won't be straight with us. And we don't know a fundamental cost-benefit analysis of this project. That is in direct contradiction of directives from the Federal Highway Administration that says, while you evaluate this project, have a comprehensive financial plan put on the table. Complete the gold line, invest in alternatives, and solve the local surface traffic needs first. We're not solving local traffic needs, we're fighting the gold line, and we're not evaluating it from a fiscal perspective. That's just wrong. It's just wrong. So what I would say, if a project needs misinformation, omitted information, and false information to continue to breathe, the project needs to stop breathing.
Yay!
Step up to the plate, make that decision, and take this off the table. We heard last night from transportation experts that there's $200 billion of unmet needs in the state of California for transportation projects. Why would we add another $15 to $20 billion burden to the taxpayers of our state on a project, again, that doesn't solve a problem, doesn't help air quality, doesn't relieve local surface traffic, and can't be funded? I respectfully, forcefully, angrily say, no 710 tunnel, no 710 tunnel. Let's move on, and let's stop this. And if you're listening, the people are saying exactly the same thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony. Next up is a man who some call the preeminent statesman of the San Gabriel Valley. Some call him the mayor of the city of Pasadena. I call him my good friend, Bill Bogart.
Thank you, Ara, for that gracious introduction. I can say that I'm glad to be here with you, Ara, with Assemblymember Portantino, with the other members, and from everyone here who opposes the 710 tunnel. My record of dealing with the 710 issue goes back more than 30 years, when of course the subject of discussion was the surface freeway. And we all analyzed that as disastrous, truly disastrous for our region, for Southwest Pasadena, for Pasadena, and for the area. One thing I've noted with a little bit of irony in my reaction is that we now have an official statement from Metro that the surface freeway will no longer be considered. And no one has even paused to celebrate or to lift a glass of champagne to celebrate after a battle of 50 years has been won. Let's hear it for the loss. But there's a reason why people haven't paused over the success of killing the surface freeway. And that is that the tunnel, which is proposed as an alternative, is no less detrimental. In many respects for Pasadena and the immediate area, it is more detrimental even than the surface freeway. And that's why it's so important that we stand together and continue this effort to eliminate the F7 alternative from further consideration here at Metro. It is a project that costs too much. It is simply, for our area of the city, a collector of traffic from remote areas of the region, bringing that traffic to the Pasadena area, to La Cañada Flint Ridge, to Arcadia and Monrovia, to Glendale and Burbank, so that the traffic can be relieved in other areas of Southern California. But the impact on our immediate area is severe. I'm glad that this gathering is here to demonstrate once again the strong public support in opposition to F7, and say in closing, the tunnel option deserves no further consideration. It is too expensive. It is disruptive during construction. It would open to an already congested traffic level. It would not solve the problem of truck traffic, and it would divert funding from alternative projects which would be effective and helpful and which have strong public support. Thank you for being here and for your concern about this project.
Next up is the man who leads my city, the city of Glendale, a man who knows a little bit about transportation himself, serving on the board of directors of the Burbank Bob Hope Airport, a man who knows how to fight, being a decorated Marine Corps veteran, my friend, Frank Quintero.
I have a very simple message. Let's build something that is environmentally friendly.
Yay!
We're standing here today watching bus after bus, clean natural gas buses. That is the type of thinking and the kind of ideas that we need to push forward, not a technology, as some of the speakers stated, goes back to the 1950s. So I'm all for environmentally friendly buses. I think there are many people here that feel the same way, as well as light rail, as well as any project that's going to do an east-west connection from Pasadena to San Gabriel Valley to Glendale to Bob Hope Airport, a north-south connection like the Orange Line Development Authority that would do a rail system north-south throughout the county. Let's do something that's positive. Let's not go back. This may have been a good idea back in the 50s, may have been a good idea back in the 60s. It's no longer the case. We have to move forward, and let's think creatively. The residents of this region deserve a lot better than just a tunnel that we just don't know anything about. It's a losing proposition for everyone. So I just hope that over time, with the kind of public support that we have, the elected officials, that a bad idea will just kind of die of its own dead weight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Frank. Perhaps no other city in Southern California has borne the brunt of a freeway being ripped through the center of its town than the city of La Cañada Flint Ridge. Representing the city of La Cañada Flint Ridge today is the mayor, Stephen Del Garcio.
Thank you, Ara, and that is true. When I was a child growing up in La Cañada Flint Ridge, we lost almost 10% of our homes to the 210 freeway. But despite that, the city of La Cañada Flint Ridge is committed to the pursuit of cost-effective and environmentally sound solutions to traffic congestion. There are many worthy projects that are competing for a limited amount of funds. The 710 Tunnel project is not one of these worthy projects. Simply stated, the tunnel project has too few benefits, too many detriments, and costs far, far too much. From my personal experience in participating in the current environmental process on behalf of my city, I can tell you categorically that this process has not been objective, and it's nothing more than an attempt to, after the fact, justify an ill-conceived tunnel project. From the studies and project information that already exist, it is glaringly obvious that this tunnel project will cost many, many billions of dollars and will have horrendous environmental impacts and will not result in any meaningful improvement in traffic congestion. In La Cañada alone, the existing studies demonstrate that the 210 freeway on project completion will open to gridlock. And not only that, it will cause severe traffic congestion through overflow traffic on our residential streets within the city. Moreover, the existing studies tell us that if this opens up, the thousands of school children who go to school right on the path of the 710 and through La Cañada Flintridge will endure respiratory damage from particulate emissions. We look to our transportation agencies to lead us into the future, not back into the past. We implore the Metro Board to stop this waste of taxpayer dollars and to redirect its attention to the planning and implementation of worthy transportation projects. Thank you.
Decades ago, there was a small city that fought this freeway extension, and oftentimes they fought it alone, and oftentimes they were ridiculed and denigrated by their neighbors and surrounding cities. But that city kept up the fight. That city kept the embers burning. And that city brought in the cities that you see behind us now. And the city that fought that fight and continues to fight that is the city of South Pasadena. And representing the city of South Pasadena, also a member on the Southern California AQMD, is their mayor, Michael Cacciati.
All right. What an example. Look at that.
Councilmember, Board Member Najarian, fellow mayors, Assemblyman Portantino, members of the community against the 710 freeway, thank you for coming out today, Southern California. I'm going to give you a different perspective why our city and the cities around us oppose this dramatic project that's a waste of billions of dollars. Our perspective is air quality. In the next decade, we've got to comply in Southern California with two major deadlines set by the Federal Clean Air Act, the EPA. If we don't meet those emissions from ozone and particulate matter in the next 10 years, we will lose tens of billions of dollars in transportation dollars. And the only way to reduce that pollution from ozone and particulate matter, which is found to cause respiratory problems, emphysema, asthma, cancer, is to reduce pollution. 80% of the pollution in our basin, in Southern California, in the San Gabriel Valley out the Glendale, La Cañada, is caused by cars, vehicles, trucks, mobile sources. This tunnel only makes it worse. Let's choose options. Let's provide our community, our residents, people that go to work, people who go to college with options. In this corridor, there are alone 4 or 5 universities: Cal State LA, East LA College, Pasadena City College, Caltech. How do people get this? How do people get to school? How do the teachers get there? Only by a car. Give us an option. Give us bicycle lanes. Give us a mass transit option. Give us a light rail. Give us buses that not only get us there, get us out of our cars, but get those 100,000 students, teachers, and faculty an option, a clean option, which cleans up our air. And listen, it stops our dependence on what I call foreign oil. We spend as a country 10 million barrels of oil a day we purchase, foreign oil. 10 million barrels of domestic oil, that adds up to guess how much? $500 billion a year going out of our country, somewhere else. Let's build, invest in a 21st century transportation system. Mayor, thank you, Mr. Najarian.
I'd like to invite one more speaker up. I told him that we would fit him in if the rest of us didn't go too long, and we didn't. This individual is not an elected official. He's not a politician. This man represents an organization that is the conscience of the environment. I'd like to invite Damon Nagami up from the Natural Resources Defense Council.
1
Thank you. On behalf of NRDC and our tens of thousands of members and activists here in Southern California, I'm proud to be standing here with folks from South Pasadena, Glendale, La Cañada, Flint Ridge, and the West San Gabriel Valley in opposition to the 710 project. And El Sereno, I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to get to that. I want to dedicate a little bit specifically to El Sereno because there's nobody here that's talked about that community yet. NRDC has a long history in El Sereno. We represent the community in federal court in a lawsuit to try to make sure that disproportionate burdens of pollution don't fall on minority communities like El Sereno. We've been severely disappointed with the outreach to El Sereno during this process. We don't think all the facts have been out there, nor has the community been able to participate in the process. And we think that's wrong, and we're going to be there to make sure it's done right. At a time when public transportation is key, we have a lot of momentum happening here in Los Angeles County. Why are we spending our time and taxpayer money on a project, on a road project, a dirty road project, that's not going to do anything to solve Southern California's congestion problems? We have a lot of momentum behind projects like initiatives like 3010, what's now called America's Fast Forward. We're building a subway to the west side. We're building light rail up and down Crenshaw and the Expo line to Santa Monica. We're improving bus service within the city and the county, and we are trying to build a public transit option between the west side and the San Fernando Valley over the Sepulveda Pass. These are all fantastic projects that deserve public funding, not dirty road projects that aren't going to solve congestion. We oppose the 710. We stand with our allies here, and we're happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, there you have it, folks. From the federal level, led by Congressman Adam Schiff, who just came out completely opposed to this tunnel, to the state level by Anthony Portantino and State Senator Carol Liu, Assemblyman Mike Gatto, and others, to the local level, the mayors of the 4 or 5 cities, to the grassroots level of the residents. We are against this tunnel, and we will do everything to stop it. Thank you. And if there are any questions, we can take them now, or if you'd like to interview any of the speakers or residents, we can do that off camera. Any questions up front?
$40 million for the study on all the options. Why not let the study go forward and leave your right and prove your right? We'll drop the program anyway, but there's evidence.
It's going to be, the question was, why not let a $40 million study go through? Well, first of all, the $40 million is a flawed figure, because it's not going to be 40 million, it's going to be into hundreds of millions once we get through with this. And what can we do with hundreds of millions of dollars? I can give you a laundry list that's going to affect the traffic situation and the mobility today and be clean and sustainable. Don't believe any of the figures. This is a huge sum of money that the contractors, I've got my friend here, that are going to chew through this money and more. There's upwards of $700 million, $800 million apportioned by Measure R for this project, and believe me, the contractors and the engineering firms and everyone else isn't going to stop until they chew through that sum of money. But we're trying to draw the line right now so we don't waste any more money on this project.
Every single study that has been done, every single process that has been done, we have been promised. And again, in the beginning, when the record of decision and the EIR was decertified, all of the cities, all of the stakeholders were made a promise from Metro, SCAG, and Caltrans. And the promise was simple. We will not spend significant dollars on this project until we find it feasible. They broke that promise once because they didn't do the feasibility study. Then they said we're going to do it in the next study. They broke that promise a second time. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. The information available from expert after expert is this project doesn't work. The proponents refuse to put information on the table. They start down the traffic study, the truck study, and then they pull it back. They have an arterial diagram that shows it doesn't improve arterial traffic. They take it off the website. Frankly, they have been shepherding a flawed, broken process. And there are projects that will generate real jobs. Let's complete the Gold Line to Ontario. Let's do the surface improvements. Let's spend that $780 million on projects that solve problems that are wanted where the data shows work. Not a project that hides data, cuts short the studies, and gives a promise of something in the future that may or may not pan out. It's a flawed process. I've witnessed it. I've been lied to multiple times, and I can tell you these people cannot be trusted to put accurate information on the table. Stop the project.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a board meeting upstairs that I've got to get to today. I don't think I'll be met with welcome arms. Let me put that right out there. But I know everyone else here is going to be able to answer any questions or do any interviews that you so seek. Thank you for all coming out. Thank you.